If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Big news. Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we have as our guests two very special people, or as you say, Christian Cultural Center Rev Hamish. They're very down to earth, and they do such good work. You know, if you pick up the newspapers and read the first few pages, you would think that around the world there's nothing but conflict. And then you read a story that took place here in New York. And you say, wow, that's a wow moment, and maybe there still is hope for us. I'm talking about Rabbi Larry Sebert, who's a good friend and the rabbi of the Town and Village Synagogue here in Manhattan, and then Detective Mohamed, senior advisor to the mayor, Muslim advisor, and high-ranking Muslim official in the NYPD. They were able to do something that deserves much recognition and respect. So, Rabbi Sebert, let's begin with you. Tell us the story briefly.
It's really very brief. The Masjid, Medina Masjid, the mosque on 11th Street and First Avenue, it's around the corner from our synagogue, has been undergoing construction for a number of months. And back early in the summer, they contacted me and said, "We need a place to pray because we have no space," and we opened up our synagogue immediately for them to come for Juma with their Friday afternoon prayers. And they actually have two sessions, earlier and later, and hundreds of people pack into our social hall for their prayer services, and we're delighted to be able to host them and to have them.
Did you have a relationship with them prior to this?
Yes. For really, it goes back to 9/11 when the imam who was here then and Catholic priest down on 14th Street, the three of us got together and said we need to make sure that we bring our communities together in prayer and in thanksgiving for the friendship and the support that we can give each other, so since 9/11, we've been able to create the bonds and connections between our communities.
Rev?
Yeah, I'm just amazed. I mean, what's the groundwork that you have to go through? Is there some process? Do you have to, let your congregation know, Rabbi? Does the mosque have to let their people know? Is there a vote? How does it work on a practical level? Because you have two different
right. Well, basically, I called the president of the congregation. She said, let's just check in with the board. We asked all the board members, and everybody said yes. So it wasn't really a formal. It was very, very quick and very because we have an ongoing relationship with. There's a group called East Village Congregations that are we do an annual spiritual sounds concert and. A wide variety of religious institutions participate, including the masjid and our synagogue, and so there's an ongoing connection. We've had a number of years ago when Ramadan was over the summer, the imam at that point and I decided that we would hold a joint fast because there's a Jewish fast day, the 17th of Tammuz, during during the summer, and we held a joint fast for peace. It was after an incident that had happened in Israel where 2 boys had been kidnapped and killed, and the families in Israel reached out to each other. The Muslim and Jewish families reached out to one another, and communities reached out to one another, and they inspired us to also reach out to each other.
Yeah, the rabbi's being a little bit modest because he wanted this, and this congregation loves him. So the feeling was, our rabbi wants it. We all want it.
We see that speaks to the trust that they have for their leadership. I gave a simple explanation when we, as an independent, charismatic evangelical congregation, started doing food pantry along with the Latter-day Saints. And, there are those within, certain parts of Protestantism that don't recognize Latter-day Saints as a legitimate, Christian faith. And my congregation simply said, well, if you're doing this, we trust your leadership. And they all jumped in, and it's been a wonderful collaboration between the two faiths without us losing our identity or violating any of our doctrine or theology. That's why I asked.
It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
Now we have Detective Amen and senior Muslim advisor to the mayor, who I have to say, Rev, has been to more synagogues in New York than many Jews. I think then he goes to the mosque. He often tells people he speaks to me more often than to his imam. We're in communication on a regular basis. So let me ask you, what is it in you that inspires you to have this kind of outreach to different communities and try to bring people closer together?
Rabbi, thank you so much, Rev. Thank you so much for having me here. What we're witnessing here in the town and village synagogue really is the very heart of what New York stands for: compassion, respect, and the answer to is the shared humanity. That every time there's something happen at Korea or call the Reverend and show that, when something happened like that, we have to help one another. When a synagogue opened its door to a Muslim congregation for Jummah prayer, the biggest prayer for Muslim, and actually 2 prayers, by the way, not only one, hundreds of worshipers coming in. It's just more than a hospitality. It's a declaration that our diversity is really our strength. And this is what the cities of faith and community can come together, not just a tolerance, but a true partnership, and collaboration.
It's one thing, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this is something that is common in the Northeast, but it is not so common in the rest of our country. This kind of interfaith cooperation and collaboration and dialogue, we've been modeling this, especially in New York City, because of our diversity, for a very long time. In your travels across the country, do you see it changing, gentlemen?
True, Rev. A Medina mosque and the town and village synagogue remind us that really unity is not just an ideal. It's something that we live every day in New York City. Sadly, a lot of people don't see that because sometimes good news doesn't sell. But we need to bring it up to show that there's hope. And if it's done here in New York, it can be done anywhere else.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the history of this kind of development. For example, years ago, Detective, correct me, in the Bronx, there was a synagogue that needed space.
True.
And the mosque in the northeast section of the Bronx, the mosque there opened its doors to the synagogue. Years ago, when there was a fire at Central Synagogue, the cardinal said, "We're opening the doors of our houses of worship for you. Whatever is good for you." So it's good to hear, but it's not the only time it's happened here. And as you say, Rev, it's not exceptional here, whereas in other parts of the country, it may be an exception.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we have more discussion with Rabbi Larry Sebert, Town and Village Synagogue, Detective Mohamed Amen, Senior Muslim Advisor to the Mayor. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back with more of The Rev and the Rabbi.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
And we are speaking with two very special people, Rabbi Larry Sebert, spiritual leader of the Town Village Synagogue in Manhattan, and Detective Mohamed Amen, senior Muslim advisor to the mayor, talking about a mosque finding a temporary home in a synagogue. And some people say, wow, that's unique. But as I mentioned earlier, it's happened before in this area. And very often, as the Rev will often talk about relationships, it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
So, Detective Amen, you traveled back and forth to Egypt. I think you've been to Saudi Arabia. You've been to Israel a number of times. Given what's happening now over there, do you see a story like this having any impact at all? Or is it something to say, well, that happens there, but it can't happen here?
No, I do think that if we are part of the world, and community here see that collaboration like that can be mimicked, can be copied, can be done somewhere else. We have learned that when we open our doors to one another, we open our heart as well. This partnership reminds us that our secret spaces, whether it's mosques, synagogue, churches, it just all exists to bring people closer to the Creator and to each other. But the lesson learned here that, doesn't mean that we erase our difference. It means we honor them while finding the value we share. Peace, mercy, and dignity, and we are human. So as neighbor, and we show that we are at such a time when there's even a time of turmoil that we can be for each other's shelter. We could do it somewhere else. And I think we are the beacon of hope in New York City, and people should look at what we've been doing for years and years as a copy that can be done somewhere else.
Yeah. Rabbi Sebert, can you speak to the fact, and then I'd love to have you, Detective Mohamed, chime in on this. It takes a certain level of spiritual maturity and spiritual security to engage in this kind of relationship building. You can't be insecure in your own faith in order to sit down and have dialogue and interaction and collaboration with someone of another faith. Can you two speak to that?
Certainly the ability to feel comfortable in oneself, and I don't feel that another faith community is any kind of is going to encroach or a threat, God forbid, a spiritual threat, because we as our own as a community have our own space and our hearts are in our own faith traditions. So I think having that makes the exchange richer. It makes it a more, and it makes it more collaborative, I think, because everyone is coming from a place of strength and security. So you are absolutely correct that is an important element.
Detective?
Rev, amazing question, and we had this conversation many times. I'm a firm believer that when you are close to God and worship Him in the best way and manner, that you have to love mankind. You don't look to anyone different than you. You always look at the humanity and how we can help one another. When you uplift your spirituality that way, that you have to work with everyone. You see the weakness and in someone as a chance for you to extend your hand to help. And time again, we've been seeing and witnessing this in New York City, before COVID, during COVID, and after. Faith community come to help and rescue one another. We did see it in the most elevated things when the fire in the Bronx happened, and it happened to be from a Muslim, African Muslim, and all New Yorkers from every faith came down to help. regardless of this individual. So we don't look at people's faith, color, or background, but we look at them as a human being who need help.
That's so important because that is foundational to Christian social ethic. The Imago Dei, the image of God that's stamped on every human being before there are any differentiating factors involved. And I think that's very, very important. Has there been any media or public criticism about this collaboration, relationship?
There, I don't. Well, until Detective Amen stepped in, there hadn't been really any.
Yeah, I understand that. And he was. He was the critic.
One thing.
You mean he was the critic?
To what you were saying about that the spiritual foundation is exactly what you said, which is Tselem Elohim in Hebrew, which is God created the first human beings in God's image, and that everyone is descended from those first human beings. So we are all brothers and sisters. We all relate. We're all part of the same humanity, and if we can remember that, it takes us a long way to building and creating a more peaceful society.
Rabbi, I want to ask you, I understand leaders of the respective congregations come together. Does it filter down to young people? Do they have a chance to have dialogue, have a chance to know each other? Because if we don't reach them, then,
right.
Where are we going?
Right. Detective Amen was actually very critical to trying to make this happen. He's actually pushed me a number of different times to create some programs that will bring our young people in together. And we've done it once or twice. We've done it a few times. And I was thinking about it the other day, and thinking that it's time for us to get together and do this again.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Town and Village has a committee, T&V Together, I think it's called, and it's expressly to do interfaith work and social action partnerships, correct?
Yes. T&V Together is part of Manhattan Together, which is part of Metro IAF, which is community organizing, a group that works on finding practical solutions through creating partnerships with politicians, with city institutions that will help to further make people's lives better. I mean, we've done a lot of actually interestingly a lot of work with NYCHA to improve housing and to get money for fixing up apartments. The broader organization has done a lot in terms of creating housing that's affordable housing, and so yes, we are part of that, and that brings us into partnership with many faith communities.
Go ahead, Rev.
Well, you follow up, Detective. I present the same question to you: is there internal willingness, evidenced by infrastructure, to collaborate from the mosque with other faiths?
So, yeah, definitely. And we've been pushing also through the administration with Breaking Bread Building Bond with the mayor, which is basically bringing groups to sit down and break bread together. And the mosque has, especially during Ramadan, very open to this. As a rabbi, been always a pillar of attending and having the synagogue part of that. That's why we came to this today, because of this investment in relation. So long-term relation, it does pay. And the mosque, the congregation and the management been there since the 70s. They've been there for a long time. And have them breaking bread with other faith groups, one of the best things that we could ever do, especially with the youth. They know about each other. Nowadays, when you go to this services on Friday and you see youth walking into the mosque and walking into the synagogue, believe me, it's the scene people need to see. I never seen this in my life. Not only that they let them attending the synagogue, but they give them the facility, the bathrooms. They give them all the tools to do a prayer with dignity and respect. I wish the whole world can see something like that. I can't thank the Rabbi enough for this.
So how do you respond to people who ask you the following question? It's very moving, it's very meaningful what you do. And then you look at the papers and you read about the increase in hate crimes. So how do we reconcile that we have a community that's loving and we have so many others who are hateful? At first, it shows that we have a great responsibility. We have much more work to do. But I don't have an answer.
So, Rabbi, I defer to you back. You remember when every time we have an attack on the mosque, you would be the first, the Rabbi and the Reverend and many of our religious leaders come in front of the mosque to support. Because we've always been saying that the soil that produces hatred to one group does it for the others. And showing that we have standing here in unity as simply one New York is the answer to this. We have to show solidarity, and we all should be against bad action. At the time of tension, uncertainty, we need to choose compassion over hate. If a woman from the Jewish leaders, Jewish community, been attacked, we need to show this from the Muslim females to come in standing in solidarity. I think keep pushing that we're here together on that. It's very important. Adding that, I want to let you know that the NYPD have one of the most active and unique unit, which is Hate Crime Task Force, who designated to arrest and investigate hate crime in New York City.
Right. We have 30 seconds left. Rabbi, anything you want to add?
I'm deeply appreciative of Detective Amin's work to bring community together and to help us, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share what is, I believe, and sincerely is a deep message of hope when people can come together, when people can work together and pray together, really.
Even if we don't change others, they're not changing us, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. For being on the program.
Thank you for having
We
us.
need models of love and cooperation, moral responsibility. We need that. I mean, 24-hour news cycle gives us enough of the bad news, right? So we need other news, good news, some good news, like we say in our Christian faith.
Thanks for listening to The Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear The Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.